or independence movement in Alberta. So this is from Keith Wilson, the lawyer. The legal process set out by the Supreme Court of Canada in the 1998 Quebec succession reference case directly addresses protecting First Nations rights, as does the resulting Clarity Act. Nothing that the Premier has announced in any way reduces First Nations rights. In fact, it gives First Nations more options for the future. Here are the legal details on the separation process and the First Nations' rights and the role of their treaties. 1. All eligible Alberta voters can vote in an independence referendum, including members of First Nations. One person, one vote. No special treatment for members of First Nations RE voting in the referendum. 2. Upon a successful vote for separation, the province of Alberta, First Nations within Alberta, the other provinces, and the Government of Canada are obligated to engage in good faith negotiations to establish the terms of Alberta's separation. 3. Alberta's First Nation would then have the following options, at a minimum, to determine their post-separation status. A. The reserve lands remain owned by Canada, with treaties still administered by the Government of Canada. Status quo, nothing changes. B. That the new government requests that the new government of Alberta assume the responsibilities of the Government of Canada under existing treaties. Only material changes which government administers the treaties. Or C. Negotiate a new framework agreement with Alberta to replace and modernize existing treaties. 4. Importantly, the First Nations themselves would decide which option to pursue as part of the succession negotiations, but they do not have a veto on whether Alberta separates. 5. As confirmed in the map below, the government of Alberta owns almost all of the land and the oil and natural gas within Alberta, resulting from the 1930 Natural Resources Transfer Agreement. So you take from that about all these chiefs who want to stand up and fight for the status quo. Well, let's jump over here for a minute and just see how the status quo is going. This kind of goes close to home. This is actually from, this is the, so when I used to work on like emptying trucks that started to go through the ice, this was the reserve they were going to. This is about 2 hours from my hometown, not my reserve, but about 2 hours from my hometown. So here's the status quo. Pekajikam First Nation is suing Canada for $200 million for failing to provide basic infrastructure. Of the 521 housing units in Pekajikam, only 29 have piped water service, while 172 units have trucked water service and 320 have no water at all. Of the 12 fire hydrants in the community, only 4 are functional and connected to the water supply. Due to the lack of functioning fire prevention infrastructure, even a minor fire can quickly become dangerous. The allegations have not been tested in court. Chief Patty Peters said in a statement Thursday that he's been living without running water in a washroom since he was first elected chief at the age of 30. Now 68, the recently re-elected leader says his household has to wash from the same bowl of water each morning. This is the same situation as my children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren and my entire community. So there's I think it says, did it say Red Lake? Near the town of Red Lake. See, there's my hometown. The Northwestern Ontario First Nations filed $200 million lawsuit. The community about 4,000 members. Anyway, I don't think we need to there's nothing in these pictures that wasn't, these are just sort of pictures of the story that I just read, I think.
So what's the gist? You said it was the what? It was the normal, like normal conditions. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's what these chiefs in Alberta are jumping on their head and freaking out about. This is what they want to maintain. Fighting with the federal government for every fucking inch, and you don't have your own money to dump into anything. You don't have, it's a shit show. You don't have even the right to develop your own land without their permission.
Well, the problem is that now you're seeing, like, now people are coming out with, hey, this is how much you chiefs are getting, and this is how many billions Canada's spending on you. Let's audit you and see where the money's going. I mean, this is going to cause a big ruckus too, right? Now we're going to be separated again because people are fed up with all the billions.
Find out where the money's going, because we don't even know how much of it. The Chiefs are stealing a lot. There's probably people all up and down the chain from either side of the fence stealing money before every way you drive around the reserves, and it's like, where's the money gone?
Yeah,
didn't get here.
Yeah,
It didn't fucking get here.